Racing Series returns to ETV Live on Tuesday nights following the Fast Track Racing Series radio show. After organizing a highly successful Team Series in 2010, Jerry Wolf is back with some kick-butt, take-no-prisoners team racing action like you have never seen before. The ETV Live Team Racing Series is sponsored by HD Radio Network live on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't wimp out, dude. Catch the action live at etv-eplay.net. Last week, Michigan International Speedway, and I'll tell you what, I came to the race with a cooler packed full of suds and a bunch of ham sandwiches thinking this is going to be a long-ass night. But I'll tell you what, cowboy, it was a battle you would not believe, from the green flag to the checkered flag, side by side, double, 2 wide, 3 wide, 4 wide sometimes, from the start to the finish. Kyle Young in the booth with me here tonight, and we're at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Kyle.
Yes, we are, JD, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second half of the ETV Live Team Series as we kick off race number 7 here tonight from New Hampshire. As you had just stated, the flat 1 mile oval. Like they call it, it's the Martinsville on steroids here tonight for 150 laps of racing action. It should be really good with these trucks here tonight, as we always have seen throughout the season here in the ETV Live Team Series. It should definitely be a very entertaining race. 150 laps. Going to be quite a long one for these guys, so they got a lot of time to get things straightened out for a very successful night, but it should be fun to watch throughout the entire night.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, there's a little bit of track fact from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 105,000 capacity here tonight. Owned by Super Speedway, or actually Speedway Motorsports Incorporated. Sorry about the Super Speedway part. Broke ground in 1989, opened up here in 1990. Have no idea who designed the place, but it's made of asphalt and granite. That'll throw these boys for a loop here tonight with the tires. It's 1 mile in length, as Kyle said, 4 turns, progressive banking in the turns 2 to 7 degrees, so not a whole lot, just enough to make it interesting. Straights just about 1 degree. That's just enough for the drainage to get the rain off. But tonight here, 150 laps at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Last week at Michigan, I'll tell you what, I was sitting down in the hauler watching that race with John, watching him push the buttons and everything, and doing a little bit of engineer work on the race myself. But, I had a couple of monitors watching the whole thing, and I'll tell you, that was one of the best races at Michigan Speedway that I have seen in a long time. And I'll tell you, Kyle, it was just absolutely side-by-side from flag to flag all the way through that thing. And I believe they got out of there with, I think, 3 or 4 cautions, real reasonable. And Super Speedway Cup pretty much dominated the evening. They went home with pretty much all the trophies, I believe.
That is correct, JD. The duo of Brandon Chaburko and Frank Buciali III pretty much dominated the night. It was Frank who picked up the win with teammate Brandon Chaburko behind him in second, and that 1-2 duo pretty much ensured the Super Speedway Cup South Rebel the victory. They came home last week with a 132-point victory over the Last Lap Motorsports guys, who are just 5 points out of the championship lead heading into tonight. They came home second last week with the Crossed Up Motorsports team third at 111 points, beating out the Super Speedway Cup North Union by only 2 points. And they had 109 points, and they beat out the Z-Loop Racing team for the top 5 with 108 points. And rounding out the field last week was the Twisty Motorsports team. They came home with 98 points in the 6th spot.
And I'll tell you something, I've been involved with this team racing, Kyle, for quite some time. Jerry Wolf started this whole thing a couple of years back over in another series that we were running and broadcasting. And I'll tell you what, this is some of the best racing you'd ever want to see here, this team racing series. It's not about who takes the trophy home at the end of the night. It's about how far forward you can get your team to finish, at the end of the night. So it's never about who's going to pick up the trophy. It's always about where the team winds up when that checkered flag comes out. But hey, let's take them down through the standings here and let them know who's who and who's where here in the ETV Live Team Racing Series. And right now, Super Speedway Cup North holding down the fort, 705 points to the good side. But I'll tell you what, Last Lap Motorsports are only 5 points behind. This could be a big, this could be the shakeout night here tonight at New Hampshire. Evan Z-Loop Racing, they're coming in 77 points behind the leaders. And then Twisty Motorsports, 110 back. Crossed Up Motorsports at 118 back from the leaders. And then Super Speedway Cup South, the Rebel, 142 points off the mark. In 7th position, RSR Outlaw Trucks, 199 points behind, and 273 back is going to be the Midnight Thunder from RSR. And I'll tell you what, Cowboy, shame on them for not showing up at Michigan last week. I already kind of gave them a little bit of what for over in their forums, but I tell you, they did miss a good one at Michigan Speedway last week.
Indeed they did, and they weren't the only ones. The RSR Outlaw Truck Team also missing last week's event. And looking through the point standings here after the first half of this season, we've kind of have a very narrow group of teams who have a shot at this, obviously, with the top two only being separated by 5 points. That is going to be the biggest battle to watch. But really, other than that, the Z-Loop Racing Team, probably the only other possible contender. They're sitting 77 points out. They got a long way to go, but if they can string together a couple wins, then they might be able to contend for this. Everybody else, 4th place, 110 out. That's the Twisty Motorsports team. I just don't see how it's going to be able to happen for them this season or anybody else back there. It's just those guys have struggled. There's only 2 wins amongst the bottom 5 teams in the point standings compared to the 4 wins in the top 3. So unless there's catastrophic results for the top 3, I don't see any of the bottom 5 being able to move their way up and having a shot at this. So definitely the Super Speedway Cup North Union and the Last Lap Motorsports teams are going to be the 2 teams that you want to keep your biggest eye on the most. But this Z-Loop Racing, they're back there. They got a lot of work to do, but we have 6 races. It is possible, but they really have to be up on their game if they're going to want to be able to pull this one out, JD.
You bet. You know, and on Friday nights, I watch Andrew Berger and Matt Botempi, Rod Flagg, and these guys are driving for the Super Speedway Cup North. You know, I see these guys every Friday, so I'm pretty familiar with their driving style and how they put it together. And I'll tell you something, these Cowboys are tough to beat on any given night. And that same thing can be said for the Super Speedway South guys, Busiala and Glenn Hendrick. Hunter Bowles putting on quite a show here last Friday, but they're way off the mark. No chance for them, I don't believe, you know, before the season is over. So I'll tell you what, you know, we got a packed house here tonight. Larry Scott in the house here tonight, Bobby Terrell, Matt Kingsbury, all these guys, Rod Flagg from Super Speedway Series, Tony Bowling in the house. Hunter Bowles is here tonight. John Abbott, back from vacation, spent the week down in Florida. His team wondered where he went last week, never showed up for Michigan. But I know John was down in Florida sipping on them margaritas on the beach with one of them umbrella things. But tonight it's all about short track racing here at New Hampshire Speedway for 150 laps. Let's throw a trackside for the Cactus Cuties.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh,
And a big thank you to the Virtual Thunderbirds for the flyby, and of course the Cactus Cuties, those wonderful voices for the national anthem. Starting on the pole here tonight. Watch out for that number 12 machine. That's Bobby Terrell down there on that front row. Outside him is going to be Kevin Van in the number 29, second row, in that number 3 on the inside. The number 3 of Tony Bowling. Keep an eye on that cowboy. Outside him, Jeff Backey Jr. in the number 13 machine. Larry Scott, he'll be starting in the 5th position, 15 machine. Outside of him in the 28 is going to be Matt Kingsbury. Mark Arthur, he'll be starting on the inside in the number 32 machine. And Larry Mulligan, keep an eye on that number 1 machine. I know what Larry can do, seen him before. Hunter Bowles, he'll be running in 9th position, and number 18 on the inside. Outside him, rounding out your top 10 on the start, Sean Brown in the number 2. Kyle?
Field rolls off of the grid here for their 1-lap pace lap. Starting in the 11th spot, the number 23 machine of Rod Flagg, and to his outside is the 14 of Stephen Cox. Row number 7 has the 27 of Jimmy Jones, and his outside is filled by the number 10 truck of John Abbott. The 26 of Nathan Lamoth rounds out the top 15 with Matt Bontempi in the number 20 to his outside in 16th. Row at number 9, the inside, has Ray Kingsbury's number 25 truck. And last week's winner, Frank Busiali III, going to start deep in the field here tonight. His 17 truck rolls off the grid in 18th. Brennan Chaburko, his teammate who finished second last week, rolling off the grid in 19th. He did not post a qualifying time. Neither did Terrence Donovan in the 22, who starts to his outside. Joshua Harbison running out tonight's 21 truck field, also without a time in the 16.
And the pace car getting set to pull off a 1-mile track here, and the pace car is off. We're set to go green flag here, and we are off and running here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Bobby Terrell, I tell you what, this cowboy is probably the best I have ever seen at a start and a restart. He gets a huge jump over the 29 of Kevin Vaughn for the start here. Tony Bowling in 3rd position, but all over the bumper, the 29 machine already. Things starting to sort out back here. Single file here all the way back to the back as we get to about 7th position. Double wide here with the 15 and the 32 machine. And Kyle, I've seen the cars run here at New Hampshire. That outside lane can prevail here, but I don't know what these trucks are capable of here at New Hampshire Speedway as we go almost 3 wide with 28 up on the top, all the way back here in 6th position. So I tell you what, we are off and running here at New Hampshire.
And DWRJD in that outside line is probably going to be the preferred line to run here at New Hampshire. Being at such a flat racetrack, the inside doesn't really work it that well. You get it down in there, and you got to lift a lot to be able to get that truck to go the way that you want it. So running up high, you can be able to get it into the corner, kind of diamond it off, and pitch it down low a little bit to get that speed. So the outside is going to be the place to be. Some guys, they might be able to set their trucks up to run the inside, but you're going to see the majority of these guys run into the middle to the outside groove, right around that crease in the middle line where that little pavement patch is majority where the field is going to be running here tonight. Some will be above it, some will try to go below it, but the majority will be right on that.
And Brandon Chaburko back here in 15th position. He's driving that number 39 machine. He was right beside Ray Kingsbury, the 25. Kingsbury having to get off the throttle. Kingsbury down on the bottom, so you're absolutely right, Kyle. The outside lane will be the preferred lane around New Hampshire here tonight. Usually it's that bottom lane right next to the turb. You try to get that curb to help you turn. And not at New Hampshire, cowboy. It's danger zone down there. But I tell you, when you watch these guys go into the turns, the one, the trucks on the inside, they're going to have to get out of the throttle and stay off of it a whole lot longer than the guys on the outside. That's the giveaway. You're going to see the pass take place about the tail end of the turn coming off. So watch for that here tonight. Right now in about 9th position here, we've got Larry Mulligan. He's on the bottom with the 18 on the outside. Here we go. Mulligan trying to fight hard on the bottom. Mulligan's going to make that bottom line work, and he's going to get the position on the 18. 18 fights back on the outside at the end of the backstretch, and Mulligan's still fighting hard, trying to keep that number 1 machine of his from drifting up into the 18. 18 may prevail here down the front stretch.
Hunter Bowles trying to fight off the charge from Larry Mulligan, and he will be able to do so. He clears him heading into turn 1, puts him back behind him and tries to pull away from him. And we saw Larry Mulligan, he got a good charge on the inside down the back straightaway, but the strength of that outside line was just too much for Larry to be able to handle, and Hunter was able to pull away. Now Hunter slides up the track a little bit. Larry's going to close up to his rear bumper. He's going to peek to the inside coming off of turn 4 and try again down the front stretch. A big mistake there for Hunter Bowles, but he's not going to be able to worry about it too long as he clears him going down the front straightaway. Mulligan throws it in there, can't quite get it done. Hunter Bowles holds the position. Now Mulligan closes really, really well in the middle of the corner, and he's going to try and fight him off at turn number 2 once again. He's got his teammate in the 2 back behind there, and might try to push him down the straightaway here and see what he can do to help.
And I'll tell you what, while that battle was going on, it was I believe Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury up here in the 28 machine. He just got around Kevin Vaughn for position. Now Vaughn and his teammate Mark Arthur for Twisty Motorsports kind of holding Kingsbury up. Kingsbury got to the bottom, was able to make that bottom work, got the hold shot, and was able to power on by. But Matt Kingsbury now sitting in 6th position, working his way to the front for Last Lap Motorsports. But I'll tell you what, Cowboy, this is quite a race being put on here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. This is the ETV Live Team Racing Series, and no better way to spend a Sunday evening than right here on Channel 1 watching this Team Series. But Josh Harbertson back here in 18th position, just kind of biding his time for Z-Loop. Remember, we talked about Z-Loop earlier. Z-Loop sits in 3rd in the overall points, 77 behind the leaders, Kyle. Don't know whether Z-Loop's going to have a shot at trying to get up to the Super Speedway Cup North Union or not.
Yeah, it's going to be really close for these guys, GD. They've got a lot of power in that team. They're supporting the black Dark Horse trucks out here tonight. And they really got to be on their A game if they're going to have a shot at this. I mean, they've got a large deficit to make up after the first half of the season. You know, I'm sure there were a lot of communication between that team throughout this week back at the shop to figure out what they got. You know, looked at the schedule, figured some things out. But right now, Joshua Harbison, he's rounding out that Z-Loop Racing team right now. You know, like you said, biding his time. It's a long race, 150 laps. It's pretty much half of a cup race. So, you know, these guys got some time, and especially under green flag, you know, when you get these guys all separated out, you got some time to kind of ride around and just feel out what your truck's doing, and that way you can feed back to your team, figure out what you got to do, and make the best changes for your truck. So, there's still a lot of racing to go in this second half, but these guys, they know where they're at. They need some good runs, and hopefully they can start that charge here tonight at New Hampshire with a strong finish.
You bet. Now, I'll tell you what, take it on up front. The number 3 machine sitting in the 2nd position. Tony Bowling just smacked the wall coming up a turn 3 here just about half a lap ago or so. But Tony Bowling sitting about 2 seconds behind Bobby Terrell, who has all but checked out on the field here at New Hampshire. Tony Bowling desperately trying to hang on to that number 3 machine of his is Jeff Backey Jr. for the pass. And I'll tell you what, Tony up on the outside trying to hang on to it. He's going to have to keep his foot in the throttle here. The 13 is on the bottom trying to make it work, doesn't have the horsepower to do it. Tony's going to keep that position up there on the top, but Bowling having issues with handling already here. 13 laps in the books as the 13 looking on the inside one more time.
Jeff Backey Jr. not giving up, not backing down. He wants that second spot, and he's going to try to maybe open the door for his teammate, Later Scott Jr., behind him to follow on through. We had mentioned that Joshua Harbison kind of riding in the back of the Z-Loop Racing team, but he also has 2 teammates here, Jeff Backey Jr. and Later Scott Jr., running 3rd and 4th. So these guys, they've got their program up on their A game. As they're challenging for the second spot right now. And you had mentioned that Tony Bowling hit the wall a couple laps ago. That outside wall can really, really sneak up on you very quickly, especially at these flat tracks. You think you're good through the center of the corner, and then the outside of the wall comes at the end of the corner, and then you're all sorts of in trouble when you hit it. But right now we're under caution for the first time here tonight on lap number 14, Problems on the Racetrack. Give us our first yellow of the evening.
And as we try to look around here and find out who it was that brought the caution out, I'm not seeing anything yet. We're still looking here.
Looks like it was the 32 machine of Mark Arthur, spun it all by himself, and the bottom side at turn number 2, he was trying to use that bottom side, and unfortunately couldn't do it. The weight of the truck wasn't with him, and just looped it around there really quick. A harmless spin. He didn't get hit, didn't hit anything, so just some worn out tires on that number 32 truck, and he'll have to bring it back into the pits, get some fresh tires on that thing, and mount the charge back up through the field. So a harmless spin, but now he's sitting back at the end of the pack.
Yeah, and somebody just squeaked by. I think that's going to be Kevin Vaughn in the 29 machine. I'm actually looking at it again from the back of Kevin Vaughn's machine. He just barely misses the back end of that number 32. So I'll tell you what, that could have been a devastating night for both of them had they connected there. But the first caution of the night here at New Hampshire, and I'll tell you what, so far it's been a pretty good race. 16 laps in the books here, and Bobby Terrell putting on quite the show as he gets 4 new shoes and a bucket of oats down here on pit road. All right, and while we're dealing with that, Bobby Terrell back out on the track again after his pit stop. Don't think, I'm looking at the 18 machine of Hunter Bowles. I don't think he came down pit road, guys. I think he stayed out. Bobby Terrell opting to come in. All right, we're going to step away for a commercial real quick here, and we'll bring you the action back here in just momentarily. Team Racing Series returns to ETV Live on Tuesday nights following the Fast Track Racing Series radio show. After organizing a highly successful Team Series in 2010, Jerry Wolf is back with some kick butt, take no prisoners, team racing action like you have never seen before. The ATV Live Team Racing Series is sponsored by HD Radio Network, live on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't wimp out, dude. Catch the action live at etv-eplay.net. Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com. DerekSpearDesigns.com and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy. And we have just taken the green flag. I'll tell you what, Cowboy, Hunter Bowles with a huge start over Bobby Terrell, but Bobby Terrell fighting back on the inside here, looking to get that lead back. Jeff Becky Jr. chasing those two Cowboys down. Hunter Bowles on the outside, the 12 on the inside, past with the lead coming up here shortly. The 12 can't hang on to it on the bottom. Remember, the top side is going to prevail. The 18 has the whole shot, and off he goes. Bobby Terrell still working that inside lane. Had some Bobby down there in the number 12 machine. The 13 getting wicked loose on the top up here, trying to stay up with Hunter Bowles up here. The 13, that's Jeff Becky Jr. So the outside lane is going to prevail. And I'll tell you what, Bobby Terrell may be stuck down there on the bottom for quite some time, but a terrific restart here after that last caution. I believe it was a 32 machine with a self-sprint bringing the first one out for the night here in the pass. Coming up for the second place, 13 fighting on the outside. Still a battle, heavy battle happening up here in front.
Man, I'm going to tell
Bobby.
you what, JD, they're up here. They are 2x2 at the front of this. They're going crazy up here trying to get the lead of this race. And, man, I'm telling you, Bobby Terrell's got a fast machine tonight. He's not going to let him lead any more than he has to.
And there's the pass. The 18 getting a little wicked off the turn there. Hunter Bowles has to drop back to second as Bobby Terrell takes the lead away from him. But I tell you what, Jeff Backey Jr., here comes Tony Bowling on the inside of the 18. Tony Bowling having his problems just shortly before that caution came out. But I tell you what, Tony down there in that number 3 machine on the bottom, that's not the lane you want to be in. But I tell you what, if he can do what Bobby Terrell did, you can make it work, Cowboy. But Tony Bowling fighting hard down there on the bottom. The 18 is going to back out of the throttle here, going to let the number 3 have the position here. So move Tony Bowling up a notch, Cowboy, as the 18 Hunter Bowles falls back into third. As the race continues here, 23 laps in the books. Oh, and the 18 gets pounded, and around we go. I believe that might bring out the second caution of the night here, guys. And it does. The 18 just gets pounded. We're going to roll it back here and see who that was. I believe that's going to be the 13 of Jeff Backey Jr. Gets into the back of the 18 here off of turn number 2. And that's going to send the 18 spinning into the outside fence. Right, I think he might have caught part of the safer barrier, I thought part of the track. But the 18 goes around, bringing out caution number 2, guys.
Yeah, JD, I'll tell you what, man, it looks like he barely got into the back of that 18, but it was enough to spin him up into the wall there. Front end looks like it's a little bit messed up. They'll get it in there, get some repairs done on it, try to get it back out here and run it again. We'll see what happens with him, but I would imagine you're probably going to see a lot of these guys going ahead and pit again, even though they didn't put too many laps on these set of tires here.
You bet. We'll keep an eye on the leaders up here, and I think Hunter Bowles, I believe Hunter Bowles stayed out on that last caution, but the number 18 machine is surely going to come down pit road and get repairs done on that machine of his. But Bobby Terrell out in front with Tony Bowling in second, Jeff Backey Jr., Larry Scott Jr. in fourth, and then Matt Kingsbury on his way down pit road, the number 28 machine here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. 150 laps on the board here tonight. We're 25 laps into this thing, and I'll tell you what, Cowboy, this is some of the best racing you ever want to watch on the Sunday night here. This is the ETV Live Team Racing Series. This is all put together by Jerry Wolf. He does a fantastic job organizing this whole series. Been doing it for a couple of years, and we started out here a couple of years back in another league. God, it seems like a couple of eras ago, or however you want to call it.
I was going to go more with like maybe a couple decades ago, but hey.
Eons.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good times behind these cameras, though, haven't we?
I'll tell you what, Cowboy, like I said, I mean, this has always been some of the best racing, some of the, exciting racing, really. All right, then I'll tell you what, why don't we go ahead and step away. Let's take another real quick commercial break, trying to work out some, I think somebody unplugged Kyle's mic. We're looking for the other end of the plug here, so we'll be right back.
Landon Huffman coming to a comfortable lead, coming out of 2. He's got about 8 car lengths, put it half a second over Dwayne Vincent as Chad Cole works the number 2 spot.
Time is running out. Vincent's got it. Cole wants it to the wall. Chevrolet puts the bumper to the 13 of Vincent. Vincent not backing down. He's in second. When we got one car on the bottom of the 10 car.
Bobby Terrell just picking up the green flag as we get started again here. Tony Bowling, Jeff Backey Jr., Larry Scott, Ray Kingsbury, your top 5 here. And I'll tell you what, Bobby Terrell, that 12 machine, he is the master at restart. Bobby Terrell getting off to a terrific restart as always. But, hey, all the way back to about Sean Brown, John Abbott back here in 7th position, single file. Abbott was duking it out there with, I believe that was Nathan Lamoth in the 26 machine. Lamoth going to get to position here, but I tell you what, John Abbott looking to get it back to 25 up on the outside. That's exactly where he wants to be. Abbott's going to try for the bottom here. Isn't going to cut it coming off the turn. Down the backstretch. Still side by side, but 25 is going to prevail.
10 truck going to shove it back down to the inside once again in turn number 3. Going to try to make the pass here for the 7th spot. Gets up to the front fender here. Gets a little sideways off of turn number 4, and that's going to hurt all the momentum that he has. And he's going to fall back in line right behind the 25 and try to work on getting that spot back. But now he's got a mirror full and a window net full of the 26. He nearly makes contact with the 10 there. That is Nathan Lamoth trying to get around, and now he loses that momentum, and the 1 truck going to pull up to his outside and try to take that spot heading into turn number 3.
Hey, come all the way back here to 10th position, guys. We got a herd of trucks back here. Start out with Brandon Chaburko back here in 10th position, and that number 39 machine out in front of him, the 25 up there on the bottom. The 39 machine, that's or the 1 machine, that's Larry Mulliken up here, guys. But there was just an absolute herd of cars up here right around John Abbott and team. 26 going past Chaburko. Chaburko down here on the bottom with the 14 now going by. Chaburko looks like he might be having some issues here tonight, guys. Chaburko obviously not at his best here at New Hampshire. Chaburko typically a front runner, put on a good show at Michigan last week, but the 32 now going past him for position as well.
Mark Arthur working that outside. He overshot turn 1 there a little bit, gets way high. Now he's going to lose that spot to Brennan Chaburko, and now has a door full of the 27 and Jimmy Jones trying to make it happen. However, Arthur gets a good run coming off in turn number 2. He's going to be able to pull up to the 39. The 27 thinking about making it 3 wide, but didn't, and Mark Arthur goes back around Brennan Chaburko and puts himself back into the 12th spot. So a lot of swapping of positions, passing, lots of hard racing going on here in the first couple laps off of this restart, right around the 10th through 13th positions here. And now the 14, just a couple trucks in front of these guys, going side by side with the 26 and Nathan Lamoth, going to try to take that spot away on the bottom. He's able to stick with him here for the majority of the straightaway. Now he's going to try and shove it in there. Looks like he's going to clear it. Oh, we got it. Mark Arthur into the wall in turn 3. Caution is out.
And that will be caution number 3 here tonight with Arthur and the 32 machine hard into the outside wall. As we'll take a second look. Look like he might have had some help here, Kyle. Looking at it here again in the monitor, I'm going to say he had some help from, I believe, it looks like the 39 machine, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too, JD. It looks like Brandon Chaburko gave him a shot right as he was hitting that brake pedal, and that shot him forward, got a little loose, and he overcorrected into the outside wall. He took a pretty hard hit there, so there's probably going to be some significant damage on the front end of that machine. Mark Arthur meeting the outside wall here on lap number 32. Just an innocent victim there. There was nothing that he could have done different. Just Chaburko got into the back of him, and he couldn't hang on and hit that wall.
You bet, and that's going to bring caution number 3 out here at New Hampshire Speedway. And I'll tell you what, Cowboy, these guys duke it out pretty much from the get-go, and at every given, at any given race. I mean, I've been watching these guys for the whole season, usually downstairs in the trailer with John, and engineering the events here, the ETV Live Team Series races. But watching these guys from one flag to the next, to the last flag. I mean, these guys are just absolutely duking it out like it was the last race of their life. So, but I'll tell you what, always a good show here on Sunday nights.
Indeed it is, JD. These ETV Live Team Series drivers, they always put on one hell of a show for everybody out there to watch. And looking at some strategy here, looks like the top 3 drivers right now, Bobby Terrell, Matt Kingsbury, and Tony Boylan, looks like they all stayed out. And the first driver who did come down pit road to take service, sitting 4th place right now, that would be Larry Scott Jr. in the 15th. So a short green flag run there, but a bit of a strategy call for our race leader, Bobby Terrell, and a couple other drivers behind him.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, while we're dealing with the third caution of the night here, I want to remind everybody about the iRacing Today radio show on ETV Live Radio tomorrow night. They're going to start a little bit early, so you want to tune in at about 8:20 or so. iRacing Today radio show hosted by Trevor Cameron and Chad Dalton. By the fans and for the fans, this is unabridged, unbiased, and completely off-the-cuff live radio show about everything iRacing up close and not personal. Live call-ins, no rules, no backtalk, and no BS. iRacing Today radio show Mondays at 8:25 tomorrow night on ETV Live Radio, etv-eplay.net. Also featured on iTunes, Windows Media Guide, and TuneIn Radio. Get the mobile app from TuneIn.com tomorrow night. Sean Siff, he's the marketing director for iRacing. He'll be joining them as Bobby Terrell picking up his umpteenth green flag of the night here on the restart with Matt Kingsbury on the outside, Jimmy Jones and Larry Scott. I tell you what, Kingsbury chasing down that number 12 machine right from the get-go. Terrell did not get away from the rest of the pack like he usually does.
No, he did not, JD. He was able to clear Matt Kingsbury, but could not pull away with it as Kingsbury now has a mirror full of 15 of Larry Scott Jr. Larry going to shove it down into turn number 3 and try to make the pass coming off of turn number 4. Looks like he's got the advantage, and he's going to be able to do it and clears for second spot. He makes the pass happen on the bottom. What a run by Larry Scott Jr. Must be those new tires that he's got versus those few lap bolts that Matt Kingsbury's got. And now Larry Scott Jr. all over the back bumper. Bobby Terrell coming off of turn number 2. He's going to try and look to make the pass into turn 3.
And Jimmy Jones in that 27 machine gives up a couple of positions here, one of them to the 13 and to Jeff Backey Jr. as a caution flies again here at New Hampshire. Spinning around here looking for it. See if we can't pick it up, find out who brought the caution out. I'm still looking here. I'm hearing it's the 14 machine, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too here, JD. Looks like Stephen Cox went down into turn number 1 to try to get some positions, and it did not quite work out the way that he would have liked it to. He got a little sideways on the bottom, overcorrected, and took out a couple trucks. Brennan Chaburko involved, the number 10 truck. I also saw a Last Lap Motorsports driver involved there as well. Not quite sure who exactly it was. But it looks like a 4-truck incident going to take out some pretty strong contenders. It looks like we're going to have some damage on some of these drivers. It was the 26 machine who was involved in that. The 26 of Nathan Lamoth also involved. So a tough break for those guys there. Stephen Cox a little aggressive on the restart, made a mistake, and hurt some others in the process. So tough break for those guys.
Yeah, big time, and riding along in the cockpit of the 14 machine. Looks like he just dove it in there too hard. Just too much throttle, not enough brake. And, of course, might be brake settings set wrong in that 14 machine, but, you just can't jump on the brakes here. That's going to bring the back end of the truck up off the ground and, put all the force on the front end, and that's, this is usually the result. I mean, it's going to go around on you. But, working the 4th caution of the night here at New Hampshire, 37 laps in the books with a 150-lap race. And I'll tell you what, these guys, I mean, just about every race I've seen these guys run, they run them, Kyle, like every lap like it was the last lap of their entire life. So never a dull moment around here.
Absolutely not, JD. These guys put it on the line each and every single week, and they make it exciting, and that's why you can't miss a week when you're watching this ETV Live Team Series. I mean, you miss 1 week and you miss a whole bunch of different storylines and events that happen throughout the race. It's something that you can't do. You can't miss it. And you got to be here every week to see this great racing action that these guys put out here in these NASCAR camping wheel trucks here across many different types of racetracks. We went to our first road course earlier this season, so that was a bit of a change up, and first time for the ETV Live Team Series coming here to New Hampshire. Last season they did not. They are here this season in a couple other new venues, so it'll be interesting to see how those races play out at those tracks as well.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, while we watch Bobby Turtle chase down the pace car here, the light should go off this time around, leaving us one lap to go here. Real quickly, there's some more great racing coming your way here on ETV Live. It all starts, I believe, this Wednesday at 10 p.m., the Triple Crown of Racing. This is some short track action presented by Double Clutch and Marketing Group, and I'll tell you what, Season 3 top split action from the Silver Crown, the Sprint Cars, and the Tour Modifieds, as I understand it. And I'll tell you what, we've done some work for Eddie Walzik and the Double Clutch outfit a couple of seasons ago. I'll tell you what, I mean, the Silver Crown cars and the Sprint cars are something you really want to watch. So some really fun stuff coming Season 3 here on ETV Live. It'll all happen on Channel 1 and Channel 2. We've got some doubleheader nights planned. I believe one is August 15th and the second doubleheader night on August 29th. So you want to tune in for those two as well. Bobby Terrell still up front with Larry Scott, Matt Kingsbury, Tony Bowling still hanging out in the top 5. Jeff Backey Jr. rounding out your top 5 on the restart here. Let's take a look at Bobby Terrell. And I'll tell you what, this cowboy is an absolute expert. Hammer is down and he is away. Larry Scott asleep at the wheel of the 15 on the top for Z-Loop. But I'll tell you what, here comes Matt Kingsbury on the bottom looking for that position. Is it going to get it as Larry Scott's going to power off the turn? Remember, that inside is not where you want to be. Tony Bowling back here in 4th position for Crossed Up Motorsports. Sean Brown, his teammate, a couple of positions back in 8th position. And that number 2, looking to get up there next to Tony to try to run for the points up here. Sean Brown going past the, I believe that's the 23 of Rod Flagg. No, pardon me, that was the 25 of Ray Kingsbury. So Sean Brown in that number 2 machine now powering past the 23 of Rod Flagg on the inside. I tell you what, Sean Brown is another cowboy that can wheel a truck like no other.
Absolutely, JD. He is a man on a mission off this restart. He has powered his way up to the 6th position. Has a bit of a gap to make up before he can get to the top 5 and Jeff Backey Jr. in the 13. But he has worked his way through a few positions here early off of these first couple laps off of this restart. And on lap 44, he sits his number 2 truck in the 5th position. Some side-by-side racing going on just in front of him. Jeff Backey Jr. trying to make the pass and will make the pass on Matt Kingsbury for the 4th spot. Looks like Kingsbury got a little out of shape, and Jeff Backey Jr. was able to pounce on that Dark Horse Chevrolet, and now he has his sights set on the 3 truck of Tony Bowling to try to get to 3rd.
And Kingsbury taking a souvenir off the wall on that little shebang there. But I'll tell you what, Kingsbury doing what he can to stay up in front. Now again, you know, remind the folks at home watching this isn't about who wins the race here tonight. It's about how far forward you can get your team at the finish line. So, you know, it don't matter if you win the darn thing, but if the rest of your teammates are the last ones in line, it's really a non-productive night, even though you take the trophy home. So what it all boils down to is what Sean Brown trying to do here tonight in that number 2 machine in 6th position. He's trying to get up there with Tony Bowling, who's in 3rd. So Sean Brown right now chasing down Kingsbury. Kingsbury still having problems with that truck of his. And I'll tell you what, Sean Brown counting on a mistake that Kingsbury makes so he can get the pass. But in the meantime, out and back here, let's go back to Larry Mulliken. He's the other one, the 3rd driver for Cross Up Motorsports. He's mired back here in 8th position, and he's running down Rod Flagg in that 23 truck. So Larry Mulliken trying to get up there with Sean Brown in that number 2 so that Cross Up Motorsports can finish as far forward as possible for the night here, Kyle.
Yeah, JD, so far we're about a third of the way through this event, and the Crossed Up Motorsports guys have 3 trucks in the top 10, so a strong effort for these guys so far. We've seen them strong before in the TeamSeries past here at these short, flat racetracks, and so far they are proving to live up to that word, as right now Larry Mulliken using the inside to try and work his way past Rod Flagg. He had him at the line, but has not quite cleared him yet. Still fighting through the middle of 1 and 2. Looks like he's got the advantage coming off of turn number 2, and he is going to be able to clear. Yes, he is. He is clear of the 23 now, so move that 1 truck up into the 7th spot. And also Sean Brown has got around Matt Kingsbury into the top 5. So Kingsbury drops back to the 6th spot. Sean Brown continues his charge. He's now up to 5th and tries to run down Jeff Backey Jr. just 9/10 in front of him.
And Tony Bowling went around Bobby Terrell up here for 2nd position, so moved Tony Bowling up a notch, Cowboy, in that number 3 machine. So Bobby Terrell having some difficulty back here, probably let Tony go. Terrell might have been stuck down there on the bottom. But I'll tell you what, Bobby Terrell, he knows how to get the job done here. It looks like he's a little bit loose coming off turn 4 here down the front stretch. Just want to make a comment here. Crossed Up Motorsports, they're only 8 points behind Twisty Motorsports in 5th position here in the points. So, you know, it's all about, you know, trying to get your teammates as far forward as possible. It's possible that Crossed Up could come out of here, you know, take over that 4th place position in the points from Twisty Motorsports. So that's what it's all about for these guys here tonight.
Indeed it is, JD, and even though they're a very, very long shot, if any possibility to win this championship, they still want to finish as high up in the points as they can to keep good momentum up and good positive energy throughout that team, to try to work their way closer to a top 3 finish if possible in the points. And right now these guys are definitely doing that, as they have their 3 scoring trucks in the top 7. And I say that because only the best 3 finishing trucks in your team are going to count for points. The points accumulated by those trucks individually are combined for a point total amongst the team, and that is put in towards the efforts of the team and the championship involved. So right now, if it were to end the way it is right now, it probably would go in the Crossed Up Motorsports' favor, as they have 3 trucks in the top 7. However, the Z-Lube Racing team, they've got a couple trucks in the top 5, and they've been strong throughout the night, so if they can send some information over to some of their teammates, they might be able to contend with the Crossed Up Motorsports guys for the race win. But we still got a long way to go, as we just passed lap 50, so we're just now under 100 laps to go, 98 laps to be exact, here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, so lots of racing left to go, and it's not over yet. Long night ahead of these guys, so they got to be up on top of their game all night long if they're going to be able to finish successfully.
And speaking of Z-Loop, let's go back here to 11th position. Joshua Harbison, about a lap ago, went around the 29 machine of Kevin Van for Twisty Motorsports. So Z-Loop is moving forward little by little here. But Josh Harbison, he sits about, almost, let's say about 8-9 of a second off of Kingsbury up there in 10th position. So Joshua Harbison back here in 11th position. Still quite a ways away from making a pass for another position up here on that 25 truck. But I tell you what, single file racing all the way from front to back here. No real action happening yet. And I say yet. It ain't over till it's over, Cowboy. And these boys, they're capable of doing just about anything at any given time out here. Larry Scott out in front now. Tony Bowling chasing him down. Tony about 8/10 of a second behind Scott, but Larry Scott in that 15 machine enjoying some time up here in the front. Bobby Terrell has had it pretty much all night long, but Terrell now in 3rd position in that 12 car for 12 truck for I believe that's the I know that's an RSR team, but I believe that's Outlaw Trucks, if I'm not mistaken.
It is the Outlaw Truck Team, JD, and he's been struggling off this restart. I have a feeling it was these past couple cautions that he decided to stay out, those older tires starting to get the best of him. He has dropped to 5th place from the lead at the start of this run, and from the looks of it, these guys are kind of settling in, and it looks like we might have a very lengthy green flag run, as we've got the whole field single file, lots of space in between the majority of these trucks, so we could be setting in for quite a long green flag run here, and that might not be good for Bobby Terrell, as right now he's the only RSR Outlaw Truck driver in the top 5. But we've seen how strong he's been so far. He won the pole for tonight's event. He was 2nd fastest in practice to our leader, Larry Scott Jr. So it's not the way that he would like to have things go for him right now. He's probably hoping for a caution so he can get some new tires on that truck. But right now he's struggling a little bit. He's still hanging on with Sean Brown, but back in 5th instead of leading like he was earlier.
About 1.5, almost 2/10 off the lap times from Larry Scott. Terrell in that 12 machine struggling here just a little bit, but still inside the top 5. Larry Mulliken is still quite a ways away, about 2.5 seconds off of Bobby Terrell up there. Mulliken back here in 6th position for Crosstown Motorsports. So pretty much smooth sailing right now. Not a whole lot of action happening out here on the track as laps start to wind down on this run. 58 laps in the books, 59 in the books now, 150 on the board. That's a lot of laps here at New Hampshire. Remember, New Hampshire being a 1-mile track. Takes just over 30 seconds to get around this place at speed. So we still got plenty of racing coming here for the night here on ETV Live. So I'll tell you what, Cowboy, let's go ahead and step away and take a quick commercial break. I got to refill my cold one here. You're watching live, ETV Live. There is no other choice. We'll be right back.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travers, start your engine!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 to the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR highlight.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
And Jeff Backey Jr. for position over Tony Bowling about 2 laps ago. That'll be second place up here. Tony Bowling falling back to third. Both these guys about 2.5 seconds or more from Larry Scott, who has pretty much checked out on the field here at New Hampshire, driving for Z-Loop up here. Larry Scott Jr. is enjoying some clean air here up here in front, and has been for quite some time now. But Jeff Backey Jr., Tony Bowling, still working it out here in the back. Sean Brown still inside the top 5. He joined the top 5 here about 10-12 laps ago, as the caution is out again here, and I'm seeing a lot of smoke on the track up here in front of the 2.
Yeah, JD, that would be the 18 machine of Hunter Bowles. Looks like he lost it all by himself in turn number 4. He got a little sideways, overcorrected, and made some contact with the front end of that machine into the outside wall. Everybody was able to scoot on by and avoid him, but he almost came up into our leader, Larry Scott Jr., and he backed up and started pulling his truck right in front of him, so that was a bit of a scary moment for our leader there. But he was able to avoid it. A top break for Hunter Bowles, and that will bring out, I believe, our 4th or 5th caution here on lap number 65.
Caution number 5 here as Hunter Bowles goes for an e-ticket ride with that triple axle down the front stretch here. And I'll tell you what, quite a bit of damage to that number 18 machine of his. I believe that's the second one that he's been involved in tonight. And I think He was in one back around lap 23 or so, but Mark Arthur will get the lucky dog on this one, we're hearing.
Yes, he will, JD. He will get one of his 5 laps back that he lost for damage repair, getting involved in one of our previous yellow flags. So a bit of a positive statement there for him, as Larry Scott Jr. just dominates on pit road. He wins the race off of pit road by a huge, huge margin over teammate Jeff Backey Jr. Tony Bowling is going to come out 3rd with Sean Brown 4th, and Bobby Terrell coming out of the pits 5th place with Rod Flagg, Larry Mulligan, Jimmy Jones, Ray Kingsbury, and Joshua Harbison popping into the top 10 here, coming out of the pits on lap number 67.
Yeah, you know, I don't have my little tool is broken that I usually use to watch these pit times. I'm just watching Larry Scott Jr. here on the replay, and I tell you what, his pit crew was lickety split with that 15 machine. And I was thinking maybe he might have taken just right sides only, but he did not. It's 4 new shoes and bucket oats for that 15 machine. Fast ass pit stop down there by his crew. So I'll tell you what, those Cowboys have come to get the job done here at New Hampshire. But I'll tell you what, Larry Scott Jr. Putting on a pretty good show here the second part of that run. Now Bobby Terrell, who've been watching here all night long in that 12 machine, still inside the top 5, struggling that last run, and not able to get the positions that he needed to be able to hang on to a lead up here that he's been, you know, so common in seeing him up in front all the time. But Bobby Terrell now will restart in 5th position. But I tell you what, Cowboy, Crossed Up Motorsports, Tony Bowling, Sean Brown are hooked up, and we'll see what they can do. Larry Mulligan just outside the top 5 here in 7th position. He's the other driver for Crossed Up Motorsports. So they're working hard to try to get their team as far forward as possible, and things are looking pretty good for Crossed Up tonight.
Indeed they are, JD, as the field has gotten the 1 to go, and they will double it up here and get ready for the restart. I think it's going to come down, if things stay the way that we're seeing right now, I think it's going to come down to the Crossed Up Motorsports team and the Z-Loop Racing team. They seem to be the most abundant drivers throughout the top 10 right now, but there's still a long way to go, and you can't count out the Super Speedway Cup guys. You know, they've been strong week in, week out, and that's why the North Union is the current points leader. Last season's champion, sticking strong through the first half. Haven't made too much thunder tonight, but you know, we're closing in on halfway, and these guys are definitely going to be up there, and definitely are going to be a threat to contend here by the time the checkered flag falls.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, we are coming off of turn 4. The pace car takes that dive down pit road. The flag is up and out. Larry Scott puts the hammer down, Cowboy, and he is all but gone into turn 1. The 3-car or truck of Tony Bowling on the inside of the 13 on the restart here. But I tell you what, Larry Scott has to get off the gas and on the binders here going into turn 1. The 13 about ready to hook up on the bumper. Bowling cannot put it together on the bottom. Has to take that position up on the top. Remember, that bottom is not where you really want to be. That top side will prevail most of the time here on the pass. So and if you're going to get it done, you got to get her done soon. Single file all the way back to about 11th or 7th position. The 1 machine of Larry Mulligan looking on the inside of the 23. I'll tell you what, almost making contact here. Mulligan hanging on to the bumper, that 23 machine coming off of turn 2, down the backstretch. Mulligan still on the inside, looking for a position to try to get up with Tony Bowling and John Brown.
Larry Mulligan driving it in hard, challenging fiercely with the 23 Rod Flagg. He's going to peek to the inside coming off of turn 4. He's got a great run, but not as great as the 23 had. 23 Rod Flagg still has it. Mulligan going to shove it down, go a little bit lower into turn number 1 there, try to make it happen. Gets a little loose, but still going to find the grip to prevail coming off of turn number 2. Looks like he's got the advantage, and he's going to be able to clear coming off and into turn number 3. He does. Larry Mulligan passes Rod Flagg on the inside. Now he slides up a little loose in the middle of turn 1, or in turn 3 there, excuse me. Able to hang on. He's going to start to work away from the 23, so move Larry Mulligan into the 6th spot over Rod Flagg.
You know, I seen Rod Flagg run that Super Speedway Series on Friday nights, Cowboy, and I'll tell you what, the driver of that number 23 truck, he knows exactly what's going on down there, too. He probably all but gave that position up to Mulligan up there, but the 23 machine, he ain't done yet, Cowboy. I've seen him come from the back to the front, and he knows how to get the job together. But I'll tell you what, putting on a pretty good show here at New Hampshire here tonight. Chaburko out of shape back here off of, I think that's turn number 2 back here, guys. Oh, a 39 machine goes around, and a caution is out for the 39 machine. Oh, and he had some help.
Yes, he did, JD, and from what happened earlier on, it wouldn't surprise me in watching that replay. That might have been some payback as Mark Arthur went down and got into the right rear corner panel and spun Brendan Chaburko up into the outside wall. We saw just a few cautions ago Brendan Chaburko getting into the back of Mark Arthur and turning him into the outside wall, and now it looks like he may have given back the favor and spun Chaburko into the outside wall as well. So Chaburko right behind him under these pacing laps, doesn't look like he's doing anything, but possible retaliation there, JD, as temper's getting a little hot as under the short track Lake Speedway at New Hampshire here.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. That's absolutely retaliation, because I'm watching the 32 machine. He's all the way down, headed towards the bottom of the track. He's looking in that rear view mirror, and he sees that 39 coming, moves all the way to the inside, tries to put the block on, but just gets the quarter panel and spins him around. Of course, a little bit of damage done to the 32 machine out of that as well, but that's absolutely a retaliation, and kind of wonder what race officials will have to say about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting what comes up at the end here, but looks like Brendan Chaburko, he brought his truck back to pit lane, but it looks like the damage is a little bit more severe than they think. He has dropped the window net, and looks like he's climbing out of that number 39 machine. Looks like he is going to be done for the day, and that's huge for the South Rebel, coming off of a win last week, and Chaburko himself coming off of a second with help from Frank Busialia III helping to push him to a win. As it looks like I saw in the last caution that Stephen Cox was still out on the racetrack. He's 18 laps down, but still ticking away, and if he can run enough laps, he'll be able to pass Chaburko, and Chaburko will be last.
Yeah, you bet. I'll tell you what, we got some feelers out looking for Brandon Chaburko. Hopefully we can get Brandon on the radio and find out what happened down there, what the deal was down there. But caution number 6 for the night here, coming out on lap 67, and I think we do have Brandon on the radio. Brandon, it's JD and Kyle up here in the booth. You got us, Cowboy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, what happened there with the 32?
I mean, he just, I guess, you know, from the previous deal with me and him hooking up, he thought it was intentional, and then he decided to take me out.
What? Tell us about that previous deal. Was that just kind of one of them racing deals, or what happened to have caused the 32 to come into you just now?
I mean, the original thing that happened is, I mean, he just braked a lot earlier than I was expecting him to, and he got put in the wall. It wasn't intentional at all, and I guess he thought it was intentional, so he wanted to do that to me.
And too much damage to the 39, can't get it started up and continue the race. Brandon, too much damage on the 39 to continue?
Yeah, I had a lot of damage, and it just wasn't worthwhile.
All right, but hey, thanks for joining us. Glad you're okay, but hope to see you back here next week. That was the driver of the 39 machine, Brandon Chaburko, who tangled with the 32. Looked like a retaliatory event there that took place, according to Brandon. But I don't know. I'm sure race officials will take a look at that and probably come out with some kind of a statement later on, maybe after the race. But we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. Larry Scott picking up, I don't know, Cowboy, he's got about 6 or 7 of these green flags already as we get started again. Bobby Terrell back out in front on the front row up here in the 12 machine. Josh Harbison taking a look up here in front in the third spot. Kevin Van in the 29 being passed on the bottom. I believe that's Jeff Backey Jr. for the position.
Bobby Terrell making his way back up to the second spot and looking to run down the 15 machine, but he has a lot of black around him, and that would be the Z-Loop Racing Team. 3 scoring trucks in the top 4, and if they can hang on, this is going to be a very, very successful night. And like we were talking, JD, they have a chance if they can put these good runs together. And right now they are just past halfway. They're looking to do exactly what we were talking about. Maybe they're listening in on us before the race went green and made some strategic moves. These guys are looking very, very strong throughout this first half of the race so far.
I'll tell you what, Cowboy, like I said, I mean, from the first race until this race, I've watched them all, and these guys, I mean, they race like every lap like it was the last lap. This is all out, balls to the wall, let it all hang out racing from start to finish. That was quite evident at last week at Michigan Speedway in the trucks. Now, like I said, I brought a cooler full of suds and a handful of ham sandwiches, thinking it was going to be a long night. But I'll tell you what, Cowboy, I was on the edge of my seat all night long, as the racing was just fantastic last week at Michigan. Tonight is no different. Tonight we're at New Hampshire Speedway, a 1-mile track, short track racing. Tempers flare at short tracks, and we've already seen a couple of incidents take place already here. And the last one involving the 32 and the 39 and what looked like a retaliatory event on lap 67. But I'll tell you, Cowboy, the night is not done yet.
Indeed, it is not. Runner caution once again here. Looks like some more problems in turn number 2. Got at least one truck spun around here. Saw some smoke up there. Gonna figure out who exactly it was, and it is the number 20 machine. And that is Matt Bontempi. Looks like he had some problems. Went for a spin there in turn number 2. Checking to see if he had any help or if there was anybody else involved with him. Looks like he did have some help, actually. Looks like he got a shot from the 28 machine, Matt Kingsbury, down into turn number 1. Kingsbury kind of drove it in there hard, tapped him in the left rear, and around he went. And boy, oh boy, did that 22 truck of Terrence Donovan one hell of an avoidance. He had a windshield full of that number 20 and was able to get on the brakes quickly and avoid smashing into the door of his teammate. A very innocent spin. Looks like there wasn't any severe damage to that number 20 machine, so he'll get it back fired up and going and have to get some fresh tires and work his way back up through the field. But right now, looks like he's going to stay out.
I have a funny feeling that 20 might have checked up for the 23 up here, taking a look at it here. But I tell you what, in any case, this is going to be caution number 7 here tonight at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for these boys. So I tell you, like I said, I mean, from the green flag to the last flag, these boys will let it all hang out. Let's go ahead and step away, take a commercial break. You're watching it live, ETV live, so don't wander off. We'll be right back.
Coming to a comfortable lead, coming out of 2. He's got about 8 car lengths, put it half a second over Dwayne Vincent as Chad Cole works the number 2 spot.
Time is running out. Vincent's got it. Cole wants it in the wall. Chevrolet puts the bumper to the 13 of Vincent. Vincent not backing down. He's in second. You know, when we got one car on the bottom, the 10 cars.
Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock
rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com. Team Racing Series returns to ETV Live on Tuesday nights following the Fast Track Racing Series radio show. After organizing a highly successful Team Series in 2010, Jerry Wolf is back with some kick butt, take no prisoners, team racing action like you have never seen before. The ETV Live Team Racing Series is sponsored by HD Radio Network, live on Tuesday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't wimp out, dude. Catch the action live at etv-eplay.net. And we are back live here at New Hampshire Speedway, just working the 7th caution here. That was between the 28 and the 20 machine back on turn number 2 on lap 81. So got the sheet metal pulled out, ready to go after it again. Larry Scott Jr. picking up another green flag here tonight with Bobby Terrell on the outside. Terrell asleep at the wheel this time. Backey Jr. still hanging out in front. And I'll tell you what, cowboy, look out for that Crossed-Up Motorsports. Tony Bowling, Larry Mullican, and Sean Brown inside the top 10, and that's exactly what they wanted to do, get that team as far forward as possible, and they have done it. So I'll tell you what, Crossed-Up Motorsports looking pretty sweet here on lap 86 here at New Hampshire Speedway as we start to duke it out here on the downhill side.
Yeah, JD, it's good for them that they've got all 3 of their scoring trucks in the top 10, but unfortunately that Z-Loop Racing team also has 3 trucks in the top 10, actually 3 trucks in the top 4. So they've got some work to do if they want to pick up the win right now. Ooh, a hard impact there off of turn number 2 wall. Jeff Backey Jr. makes some contact, slaps the turn 2 wall. Looks like he's going to lose a spot here. Joshua Harbison looking to the inside. He's not going to be able to complete the pass, though, and he's going to lose some momentum. The 3 truck looking to the inside. That's Tony Bowling trying to take the 4th spot away. Down the front straightaway into turn number 1 they go. Harbison drives it in hard. Looks like he is a little loose, slides up a little bit, loses momentum, and he's going to lose the 4th spot. Has the door open for the 2 of Sean Brown to slip on through as by. Can't quite do it. Sean Brown falls behind, but Joshua Harbison now back to 5th.
And it's a battle tonight between Crossed-Up Motorsports and Z-Loop Racing. I'll tell you what, Cowboy, this is exactly the kind of battle you like to see here in the ETV Live Team Racing Series. And tonight, it's all about these 2 guys. Remember, Crossed-Up Motorsports, they sit 8 points behind Twisty Motorsports. And I think they might be able to take that position away from Twisty by the end of the night. Z-Loop, of course, they're significantly back behind Super Speedway Cup North. But Z-Loop trying to hang on to a 3rd position here throughout this Team Racing Series. So, and this is what it's all about. It's not about who wins the race. It's all about where your team finishes and how far forward that is. But some pretty good racing happening here at New Hampshire Speedway. It's taken on back to about 9th position. The 25, Ray Kingsbury on the outside. The 23 machine of Rod Flagg getting a little bit loose on the bottom here with the 23 machine, but trying to horsepower off. Oh, the 25 makes contact with the 23. The 23 going around on the backstretch. That may or may not bring out a caution. The 23 is still rolling. No caution yet. The flag is still green, and that caution comes out. The 23 machine was able to come out of that and keep the engine fired up and keep going, but the caution will come out here for the 8th time here at New Hampshire.
Tough break for Rod Flagg in the 23. That was just an unfortunate circumstances for him. Looks like the 25 there of Ray Kingsbury just got a little bit loose coming off of turn number 2. Tried to save it. He didn't have enough room to save it. The 23 was down there, and unfortunately he got the right rear of the 23. A hard impact to the outside wall. Popped that truck up onto 2 tires there. Ray Kingsbury instantly apologizing over the driver communication channel. That was just an unfortunate circumstances for our points leading truck there, Rod Flagg. His Super Speedway Cup North Union team currently leading the points here, and with the 23 having some problems, that could give that team their one non-scoring driver. It looked like a pretty vicious hit. We'll have to see how bad the damage is. on the front end of that 23, but a bit of a setback right here for our points leader.
You bet, as they all come down pit road. I'm keeping an eye on the number 12 machine, Bobby Terrell, up here in front, and that looks like it's going to be right sides only for the number 12. He's going to get off pit road first, guys. So I tell you what, Bobby Terrell looking to put that number 12 machine back out in front again. However, 92 laps in the books. Is 2 tires going to be enough?
I don't know, JD, but we've seen quite a bit of a strategy on pit road down here by the 12 machine. We've seen him stay out a couple cautions, which didn't really work for him once we had a green flag run, and now we've seen him take 2 tires here on this most recent caution, and it'll be interesting to see how well that'll be able to work for him as he's going to put his Outlaw truck into the lead. I'm not quite sure if he has any other teammates out here with him. I haven't really seen any other Outlaw truck paint schemes looking through the field, so he might be the only one for the team, but he's still showing his strength, and he definitely is showing that he wants to put that Outlaw truck into victory lane here tonight.
And Terrence Donovan being shown the leader. He has not pitted. And he may be, I believe he might be at the tail end of the longest, tail end of the lead lap here, guys.
No, JD, he was on the lead lap. He just came down to make his pit stop now a lap later. Might have stayed out just to get that lap led, maybe some bonus points there, but he came down pit road, took his stop, and now he's working his way back up to the field.
There we go, and that will put Bobby Terrell back out in front on the restart with Larry Scott up on the outside. I tell you what, Cowboy, keep an eye on that number 12 machine and watch his restarts. He is just an absolute master at putting the throttle down when we pick up the green flag. But what a night of racing here at New Hampshire, working our 8th caution between the 23 and the 25. You know, I looked at that a couple of times, and you know, that to me that was just a racing deal. The 23 is working hard off the corner. The truck's going to drift up just a little bit. 25 car trying to keep the left-hand pressure on that wheel to keep it off the wall. You know, he moved into that center lane there just a little tiny bit, and they kind of met in the middle. And to me, that was just kind of a racing deal. But tough luck for the 23 Rod Flag. That's going to set him back by quite a ways. He'll be restarting in 16th position back here, and that's quite a ways from the front. So all that work and effort that he did to get up inside the top 10, he's got to do it all over again.
Yes, he does, JD. It was just an unfortunate thing. Nothing he could have done, just a mistake on the 25 there. A couple quick housekeeping things before we go back. Green flag, John Abbott was waved around as our lucky dog. The 14 of Stephen Cox stayed out to get one of his laps back to get another one on the wave around, and he also went past Brandon Chaburko, so Chaburko is going to be finishing dead last here tonight. Bobby Terrell stabs the gas as soon as the pace car gets off of the racing surface, and he opens up a pretty significant lead heading into turn number 1 right now. Side-by-side racing action, the 13, and I believe that is the 3. For the 3rd spot, indeed it is. Jeff Backey Jr. trying to take that spot, or actually keep that spot from Tony Bowling. Tony Bowling was trying to take it, and he is going to take it off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. The 15, Larry Scott Jr. trying to reel in Bobby Terrell and try to challenge him for that lead once again.
Larry Scott Jr. not letting Terrell get too far out in front. I'll tell you what, he threw it into that turn really deep and really wide coming off. And I'll tell you what, Larry Scott looking for the bumper of that number 12 truck out there in front. But I'll tell you, Tony Bowling, he's no slouch either when it comes to this racing stuff, Cowboy. That number 3 machine, he knows what to do here late in the game. So Tony Bowling doing it right, like I said. And then, of course, his teammate Sean Brown back here in 5th position, the number 2 truck. He's looking at the bumper at the 13. That's Jeff Backey Jr. out in front of him. So it ain't over yet, Cowboy. 96 laps in the books, 150 lap race here tonight. We've still got a long ways to go.
Indeed we do, indeed we do, JD. Ugh, getting a little tongue twisted here. It's been a long broadcast so far. We've got 56 laps, actually 54 laps to go. It'll be 53 when we hit the line this time by. And like I had mentioned before, JD, it is so close between these Crossed Up Motorsports guys and the Z-Loop Racing team. I mean, they have all 3 of their scoring drivers in the top 10. It's just going to be a matter of who can beat who. I mean, unless something catastrophic happens to some members of this group here, I think it's going to be a really hard-fought battle between these 2 drivers, or between these 2 teams. to figure out who's going to win it, and I don't think either one is going to give up easy. You know, this is the Z-Loop Racing team. They have an outside shot for this championship. Every point counts and every position matters to these guys. And the Crosstown Motorsports guys, they looked into tracks like these. They've been strong on the short tracks on these flat tracks before. They see their opportunities for victories and they want to take them, even though they're not true contenders for the championship right now. Every win matters, and every win helps that confidence rise within that organization.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Last Lap Motorsports back here with the number 26 machine, 12th position. This is Nathan Lamoth back here. Been keeping it pretty clean all night long here, but kind of struggling here a little bit. The middle of the pack here, not able to put that machine of his as far forward as he needs it to be to try to maximize some points. His teammate Jimmy Jones dead ahead in 11th position up here. But I'll tell you what, as the caution comes out again here, oh, Bobby Terrell going around. Let's roll it backwards here. He might have had a little bit of help coming off of the 15 machine of Larry Backey Jr. Coming in, look, oh, it looks like one of those, I don't want to say the word, but they didn't actually touch things. But Terrell getting spun around here, going for an e-ticket ride. We're going to let the race officials figure that one out. Didn't even see them hit. But Terrell does take a pretty good hit off of another truck here. Can't tell who that is here.
That would be Jeff Backey Jr. in the 13 machine there, JD. Backey had nowhere to go, and he hit Terrell dead center in that right rear. That's going to do some serious damage. And actually, the 2 machine also involved in this one. That would be Sean Brown. He also has some problems in this incident. So that's 1 Z-Loop Racing driver and 1 Crosstown Motorsports driver involved in this accident. Looks like Bobby Terrell and Jeff Backey Jr. had the worst of it, as they are doing that iRacing crab walk going down the back straightaway there. Not too sure how bad the damage is on that 2 machine, but if he can get that thing to pit road, bend that right front fender out, he might be able to continue on. But heavy damage for Bobby Terrell and Jeff Backey Jr. That could be a very significant role in who wins this race here. Jeff Backey Jr., a part of that Z-Loop Racing team who have been so strong throughout the night. Here on lap 100, having some problems. This could be a big key moment in determining who's going to pick up the victory here in this race.
And it looks like Jeff Backey Jr. might have been pushed behind the wall and done for the night. Jeff Backey Jr. in that number 13 machine. Looks like he might be done for the night here, guys. But Bobby Terrell down there on pit road, they're working on the truck, trying to get back everything they can before the night is over. 101 laps in the books here at New Hampshire, and this could be quite upsetting as we watch the number 2 car of Sean Brown also being worked on here on pit road. Remember, Crosstown Motorsports doing everything they could. They had 3 trucks up inside the top 10, working on a top 5. But now with Sean Brown sitting down on pit road, he might even go down a lap before this thing's over with, guys.
Yeah, that's a good possibility there, JD, as you see the number 10 truck work its way around the pace car. That is John Abbott. He is the lucky dog under this caution. He will be put back to 7 laps down. John was involved in one of the previous cautions with the 14-inch truck of Stephen Cox and Brendan Chaburko, a couple other drivers involved in that 4-truck accident in the middle of turns 1 and 2 earlier on. So losing some laps for damage repair, now he's getting those laps back under these cautions. It doesn't look like he's really going to be able to take any spots unless, well, Jeff Backey, he'll be able to take that spot from Jeff if he does not come back to the racetrack. Possibly Bobby Terrell as well. Depends on if Bobby is done or not. We'll have to see what that crew is doing with that truck. But right now it looks like the lights are out on the pace car. We're going to double them up and get ready to go here on the restart. They will have 46 laps of racing to go. Starting to get down to the wire here, JD, and finish this one off.
46 laps to go on the restart. And I'll tell you what, the pace car getting a workout here tonight with Z-Loop out in front on the front row here. That's going to be the 15 and 16. Larry Scott Jr., Josh Harvardson out in front. Ray Kingsbury in the 25. Jimmy Jones and Tony Bowling in that number 3, your top 5 on the restart. Larry Mulliken with crossed up, still up there inside the top 10. He'll be starting right there beside Tony Bowling on the outside. Sean Brown, unfortunately, will go down a lap, and it may be 2 or 3 before the repairs are done on that number 2 machine. He's going to miss the restart here, so that's going to set crossed up back significantly towards the end of this thing here tonight. Z-Loop might be your winners here tonight as we get the green flag. We're back to racing. 15 off to a good start. Joshua Harvison gives it up to Larry Scott. And I'll tell you what, these 2 cowboys are just going to ride it out. If they keep these 2 machines out in front here for the rest of the night, they're in pretty good shape as far as team points go.
Well, JD, you say that Z-Loop might be able to take it, but I saw in the restart there, we've got 3 Last Lap Motorsports trucks in the top 10 as well. So now Last Lap Motorsports starting to peak their name and throw their cards onto the table into the battle for this one. Remember, Last Lap Motorsports only 5 points behind the Super Speedway Cup North Union team heading into tonight's event for the championship battle. So that could be a huge, huge championship implication and probably a good break for the Last Lap Motorsports team as well. The even fight is kind of still there between the Z-Loop Racing and the Crosstown Motorsports team. They each lost a truck, so instead of having 3, they now have 2. But Last Lap Motorsports is knocking on the top 5 with 5, or with 3 in the top 5.
The 3 truck, Tony Bowling, almost getting sideways right here in front of the 25 machine. That's going to be Tony Bowling up there in 4th. But Tony almost losing it here coming off of turn 2 or turn 4 down the front stretch here. But I'll tell you what, things are starting to heat up here at New Hampshire Speedway. And Kyle, you're absolutely right. I'll tell you what, Cowboy, Last Lap Motorsports putting it together. This may be a last few lap challenge. Maybe a little bit of pep talk by the crew chief down there on that last caution. But I'll tell you what, Last Lap Motorsports, you're absolutely right. It's 5-point deficit behind leaders, Super Speedway Cup North Union, and they're looking for a good points, solid points run here tonight to challenge for that points lead.
Yeah, JD, it's a shame that Bobby Terrell, Jeff Backey Jr., and Sean Brown had that incident. Hopefully no other of our top runners get involved, because I have a feeling we're in store for a great, great epic battle to the finish for this one with just 42 laps to go, as we've got 3 teams with a shot to fight and win this race. It's going to be good, and I see kind of towards the back of the top 10, we got one Twisty Motorsports truck. That's Kevin Van. He's currently running in 7th place. And just a couple trucks behind him, Matt Bontempi and Terrence Donovan running 9th and 10th. So we got some teams starting to work our way back. And I told you before, JD, that Super Speedway Cup team, of how well they've been. They got 2 trucks in the top 10. If they can move their way through the field, then maybe we can have 4 teams battling it out for this win. It's going to get really, really good at the end of this race. And these guys, they're definitely putting on one hell of a show to kick off the second half of this season.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, Sean Brown back out on the track. I'll tell you what, if you ever talk to Sean Brown, you'd think he's an old shiner from Missouri, but he's not. He's a pretty good old boy from Georgia. Sean Brown driving that number 2 cross-up motorsport machine back out on the track, 2-lap deficit, and about a quarter of a lap out in front of Larry Scott. So he may go down a 3rd lap here before this thing's over with. Right now, Larry Scott Jr. looking pretty sweet out here in front. Tony Bowling running in 2nd with Larry Mulliken on the chase. Teammates Bowling and Mulliken up here. Joshua Harbison for Z-Loop drops back to about 4th position, almost 2.2 seconds behind the leaders up here. So Harbison was right up there with Larry Scott on the get-go, but is falling back quickly here. And may be at risk for Last Lap Motorsports, ganging up on him coming down the front stretch. Let's start with Ray Kingsbury, 5th position. Out in front of him, his teammate Matt Kingsbury, and I don't know whether the brothers, father, son, I don't know what the deal is there, Cowboy, but they're putting on a pretty clean show going around the 16 of Joshua Harbison.
Yeah, these guys working their way around Joshua Harbison. And Harbison, he's kind of had some struggles for the first half of the season. He hasn't been able to really put together oh, wow, look at that 29 truck slide in the bottom of that turn there. He's going to lose a few positions, but is able to hang on.
Oh,
Joshua Harbison sideways and around he goes. I was just about ready to talk about how well that run was for Joshua Harbison, and he spins it around, gets collected by the 29 of Kevin Van as well. Oh man, a heartbreak for Joshua Harbison. He was running so well, running in the top 10 and in the top 5, almost in the lead a couple times tonight, and he spins it out all by himself, gets collected by Kevin Van. Caution flag going to come out here on lap 112.
And the pressure mounts here at New Hampshire Speedway. Z-Loop in contention for a last-ditch effort here to try to gain the points. Gain some in the points here. This may set them back by quite a bit here. Joshua Harbison just letting it all hang out, could not keep it on all fours, and goes for that E-ticket ride. And what do they call that? A triple axle right there in front of the stands, right there by the flag stand?
Quite possibly there, JD. But I also saw we might have another big points implication. The 20 truck of Matt Bontempi also got a little piece of that wreck. He pulled it down to the apron in turn number 1 and got out of the truck. That could end Matt Bontempi's night. I believe Rod Flagg in the 20. Yep, Rod Flagg was able to repair the damages sustained in the other wreck. So that is gonna hurt that Super Speedway Cup team. I don't know if they came here with 2 or 3 or 4 teams here tonight. But that Super Speedway Cup North team, our current points leader, in trouble once again here. Now it looks like we're gonna have one of their trucks out of the race. And Ray Kingsbury, number 25, on some fuel strategy, going to take the lead right now.
And as all that happens, why don't we step away and take a quick commercial break. We'll take you side by side. You're watching live, ETV Live Cowboy. It's the only game in town, so don't wander off. We'll be right back.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50-caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products, reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com, and buckle in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
And the Cowboy is back. Hey, I'm up here in the booth tonight with none other than Kyle Young. I'll tell you what, having a good old time up here. Lights just went off on the pace car. Ray Kingsbury, Last Lap Motorsports, out in front here. Kyle, he did not pit. So don't know what that's going to do here. Last pit stop would have been about, 13 laps ago or so. So, you know, at a place like New Hampshire, hey, it's going to be 4 new shoes and a bucket of oats for me every time I got a shot at it. Larry Scott, he's going to have 4 brand new tires. He'll be restarting on the outside in that 15 machine for Z-Loop. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
He could possibly have said, you know, it wasn't that long of a run. You know, that Last Lap Motorsports team, they weren't really in the top 5 yet, so maybe they could take a risk here with keeping a driver out there to try to take the lead. You know, the Super Speedway Cup North Union hasn't been a big threat so far here tonight, so maybe this risk could work for them. You got 33 laps to go, though. That's quite a long run. A lot of laps left, so we'll have to see if those tires are going to be able to work. He gets a great stunt, though, and is able to clear Larry Scott by a good amount.
We'll keep an eye on that number 15 machine as he puts the hammer down here, but he's got the 3 of Tony Poling breathing hard on the bottom down here. Alongside, side by side with the 15, Tony Bowling looking for the second spot here. Going to give a run to the 25 to the front, going into turn number 3, side by side. The 3 car on the bottom, the 25 car up on top. Remember, no tires for that 25 car. And here comes the 15 on the bottom, almost taking a 3 wide to think twice about that one. And move Tony Bowling out to the front with Larry Scott coming hard on the bottom in the 15. 4 fresh tires versus no tires at all. The 25 falling hard to the back.
How about Larry Mulligan now? He moves his way into the 3rd spot and has to try to chase down the 15 of Larry Scott to make it a crossed up 1-2 right now. Hard racing the first lap off that restart. Those guys knew that Kingsbury did not have tires. They wanted to clear him, get rid of him, get him out of the picture early, and unfortunately that strategic move did not work for that Last Lap Motorsports crew, as now Larry Scott Jr. shoves it down to the inside. He's going to barely know he can't clear the 3 truck of Tony Bowling for the lead. Tony going to try and build that run coming off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. They drag race into turn number 3. Bowling has the advantage, but Larry Scott drives it in there hard, trying to clear the 3 and take the lead. Lap truck Joshua Harbison to the outside, not giving any threat to these guys, but he always comes up and makes contact there with a 15. Close and hard racing here. These guys do realize they have 30 laps left, right, JD?
Well, that don't mean nothing to these cowboys. I'll tell you what, Last Lap Motorsports running 4, 5, and 6 now, but the action happening out in front here as Larry Mulligan now up in the 3rd position behind Tony Bowling. Sean Brown, unfortunately, is mired still 1 lap down back in 12th. That's their other teammate here tonight at New Hampshire. But tonight it's all about Z-Loop. Last Lap Motorsports crossed up. May have something for these guys. Don't know yet. But Tony Bowling and Larry Mulligan are going to have to finish 1-2 to be able to maximize the points for the night for their team with Sean Brown mired so far back. But I'll tell you what, Cowboy, 122 laps in the books here at New Hampshire. This has been no different than the race at Michigan. Few more cautions, obviously, but these boys letting it all hang out from one flag to the next, every turn, every lap, and this has really turned out to be quite the race here at the finish.
Indeed it is, JD, as I'm kind of looking who we got running here. I'm starting to kind of lose some faith in that Z-Loop racing team, unfortunately. Larry Scott Jr., he's the only driver for his team in the top 10 right now. So even if he wins, I don't think it's going to do anything for that team, unfortunately. We saw Jeff Backey Jr. get involved in an accident. Joshua Harbison got involved in an accident. And that only leaves Larry Scott up front. Tony Bowling and Larry Mulligan, they're currently running 2nd and 3rd. The only 2 crossed-up motorsports trucks in the top 5 after Sean Brown had his problems. They need to finish in top 2 spots with Last Lap Motorsports running 3rd through 5th right now, or actually 4th through 6th in the running order. Because they have those 3 trucks running right in a row, I don't know if the points, the way that those 2 crossed-up motorsports guys are running right now, I don't know if it's going to be enough to beat those Last Lap Motorsports guys. But as it stands right now, I definitely feel like the Z-Loop racing team has been eliminated from any chances of winning this race, only having 1 truck. Now, that truck is leading the race, but like you said, it's not about winning the race. It's about your team. And right now, the team is non-existent for Larry Scott Jr. It's all about him right now.
And Last Lap Motorsports, I believe they might be able to close the distance on Super Speedway Cup North. Last Lap Motorsports, all 3 machines inside the top 10 running 4, 5, and 6. All they have to do is stay there, Cowboy, and get the job done. Tony Bowling and Larry Mulligan for crossed up out there in front of them. But hey, without any help from Sean Brown, even with a 2-3 position right now, don't know if that's going to be a whole lot of help to those guys. But right now, it's Last Lap Motorsports we're keeping an eye on. If they can just keep it clean for the next 24 laps, they might have they may be able to overtake the Super Speedway Cup North Union team here tonight at New Hampshire. But in the meantime, Larry Scott Jr. out in front with that 15 machine. Tony Bowling about 0.8 of a second behind in 2nd. Larry Mulligan, Matt Kingsbury, Jimmy Jones, your top 5 back here, as Ray Kingsbury is falling about 5 and let's call it 5.5 seconds behind the lead. Remember that 25 machine, no tires for him, and he went right backwards right from the get-go. So we'll keep an eye on how this is all going to shake out. Terrence Donovan, 22nd in the 22 machine, back here in the 7th position for Super Speedway Cup North. They're fighting to stay alive here. Rod Flagg, I mean, Rod was involved in a caution here a while back as well. So Rod Flagg, that 23 machine, inside the top 10 for SS Cup North. And if they can just keep all four wheels pointing in the right direction, it might be a good night for these guys too.
Yeah, JD, I mean, we've only got 22 laps to go, but anything can happen, and we've seen that happen so many times in the past. You know, it's all about how well you can keep your truck on the racetrack and going the right way. So many different scenarios and so many different things that are to come, and I think if well, right now the ball is definitely in the Last Lap Motorsports team's court. They have the 3 drivers running 4, 5, and 6 right now. Combined totals, once you add in Sean Brown at 12th with the Crossed Up Motorsports guys, I don't think it's going to be enough to defeat the Last Lap Motorsports guys. For those Crossed Up Motorsports guys to even have any sort of a thought, they've got to get up and around Larry Scott Jr. and have a 1-2 finish. That would help. Now, if we get another quick caution, Sean Brown can get his lap back, maybe move up a few spots, put him on the lead lap, then maybe we can have a fight. But right now, time is winding down. We're just about ready to click off lap number 130, 20 laps to go here. If things stay the way that they are, I believe that it's going to be the Last Lap Motorsports team to pick up the win right now. Nathan Lamoth in the 26. He is the 4th Last Lap Motorsports truck and not being scored for points right now. He was involved in one of our earlier cautions. Hasn't quite been able to rebound successfully from that. He currently runs in 8th place, but isn't scoring points right now for the team. He isn't hurting them, isn't helping them, but isn't hurting them. That's the main thing right now. It's Matt Kingsbury, Jimmy Jones, and Ray Kingsbury right now leading it and hoping to pick up the victory for that team.
Inside the top 5, and that's exactly where you want to stay. And I'll tell you what, Cowboy, if you could just throw a Post-it note down there onto the windshield of the 28, the 27, and the 25, stay put. Stay put. And that's all they have to do is just finish 4, 5, and 6, and I believe that they're going to have that 5-point deficit that they need to overtake Super Speedway Cup North. But in the meantime, Scott Jr. out front with Tony Bowling about a second and a half behind Larry Mulligan, now about a second and a half behind Tony Bowling. So at least Crossed Up Motorsports doing a pretty decent job up front. And I tell you, if Sean Brown had not been involved in that caution, I think Sean Brown would have been right up here with Mulligan and Bowling by this time. But unfortunately, Sean Brown, 12th position, being shown 1 lap down. If the caution flies again, he'll get that lucky dog, get that lap back, but it may be too little too late for Crossed Up Motorsports as Sean Brown giving the bump to Super Speedway Cup South. That's Hunter Bowles right in front of him there. So, I don't know, looks like Sean Brown may be trying to, as the 18 almost gets sideways there. That's Hunter Bowles. But Sean Brown playing with the bumper of the 18 here just about half a lap ago.
A little bit of bumper tag going on there. Hunter Bowles and Sean Brown. Sean Brown a lap down, even though those guys are right next to each other on the scoreboard. It's not going to cost Hunter a spot to let him go, which it looks like he might do here, dropping down to the inside, giving Sean the preferred line. Just going to be like, I ain't going to fight you, dude. Hunter Bowles has had he washes up a little bit and almost touches him there, so that was a little close there. Hunter Bowles has had a bit of a struggle here tonight, being involved in a couple cautions. So, but right now he's still hanging on to 11th, just outside the top 10. He's about 2.7 seconds off of the top 10. Actually, it's now 2 seconds off the top 10. So, yeah, you know, even though he's had some struggles, he might be able to pop it into the top 10 if he can gain some ground. But with 16 laps to go, he doesn't have a lot of time, and sliding through the turns like he just did there on the entry to turn 3 isn't going to help his cause at all.
Yeah, you got that right. And I'll tell you what, in the meantime, we're watching Larry Scott Jr. out here in the front, Z-Loop Motorsports. He's just kind of picking them up, putting them down. Tony Bowling following along here. He's about a second, a little better than a second and a half behind. No real movement for him. In fact, lap times are starting to pretty much show the tail of the tape here. Bowling is about almost 0.2 of a second off the lap times of Larry Scott. So no help there and I'm sure that's going to be the case as we cycle down down through the field. Larry Malkin in third position now. He's about almost 2 seconds behind Tony Bowling, his teammate. So as things start to wind down here at New Hampshire, what you're seeing right now, if it stays green, this may be the way it finishes in the end. No real battles taking place out on the track, and right now it looks like it's going to be Last Lap Motorsports going to overtake Super Speedway Cup North, but hey, that's only a prediction. It ain't over till it's over, Cowboy. And we're still about, what are we, about 20 some odd laps, not even that, about 12 laps away?
That is correct, JD. Larry Scott Jr. hits the line right now. 12 laps to go in this one. And, you know, even though that team had its struggles tonight, and unfortunately it does not look like they are going to win the event as a team. It looks like they are going to have one of their drivers pull into victory lane for the driver aspect of things. Larry Scott Jr. slowly increases his lead over Tony Bowling, and you know, it's a shame that happened to that Z-Loop Racing team. But you know, we talked about how important it was heading into this race. You know, there were 77 points out. They had 6 races to go. They really needed to step up their game to have a shot to contend for the championship, and they did just that. But unfortunately, they ran into some problems, and it's not going to go the way that they would like to here in this event here tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? We may be speaking prematurely. You know, we've had 10 cautions here tonight, and although we're sitting here talking about all these points, there are penalty points coming forthwith, so race officials aren't done with this thing just because the checkered flag comes here in about 9 more laps. So we may be speaking prematurely, but right now, if everything stopped and everything's copacetic, it looks like it might be Last Lap Motorsports. But hey, Cowboy, don't call your bookie, because that ain't the gospel coming out of the booth up here from the Cowboy and Kyle Young. So just stay with it. And shortly after the race, we might have the assessments done, and we'll check with race officials before we end the broadcast. But right now, Last Lap Motorsports looking pretty sweet here tonight, running 4, 5, and 6. They just need to stay put, stay that way, keep all 4s on the ground, pointed in the right direction, and run this thing out.
And if this stays green, it looks like they are going to be able to do that. Ray Kingsbury has about a 3.5-second gap over Terrence Donovan, and it really doesn't matter where those guys finish up if they decide to pass each other or not. They just got to be able to, you know, keep their heads cool and race each other clean. Right now, they got about 2 to 3 seconds in between each of the 3 of them, so I don't really think anybody actually throughout the top 10 really at all is going to do much position changing. The closest battle we got right now looks like Nathan Lamoth and Rod Flagg for the 8th spot. Looks like they're about 2 tenths, and actually now they're sideways with each other. Or no, that's no, yep, they are. Terrence, actually he's trying to get around Terrence Donovan now here. Nathan Lamoth is trying to get around Terrence Donovan, and he does. So now, even though it doesn't matter for Nathan Lamoth, it's Last Lap Motorsports 4, 5, 6, and 7, with Lamoth being the non-scoring truck right now.
And checking my notes here, I've only got one of those trucks. I believe it was the 28 on my count that was involved in one of those cautions. But still not sure if those will count against penalty points or not. But as things start to wind down here at New Hampshire, Larry Scott Jr. Still holding on to the fort out in front. That's a no-brainer, Cowboy, doing a fine job out there. Tony Bowling has fallen back to let's call it 3 seconds behind. Larry Mulligan still maintaining about a 2.5 second behind Tony Bowling up here, teammates. And of course, Sean Brown, the other Crossed Up Motorsports, unable to get that lap back. He's mired back here in 12th position in that number 2 truck, significantly off the pace here, and no chance for him to move up and help that team of his out there in front. But right now, it looks like Last Lap Motorsports, with all of their trucks from 4, 5, 6, and 7th place here. And I tell you, as a team, that's exactly what you want to do. That's where you want to put them with 5 to go here at New Hampshire.
Absolutely, JD. That's definitely what these guys want to do. 4 laps to go. Looks like everything is going to go their way. Right now, if the caution were to come out, the race would be over. So as long as it isn't any of them who has a problem, then this is how it's going to finish up. And I don't think Larry Scott Jr. is going to have to worry too much about anything. His number 15 Chevrolet sitting nice and pretty, 3 seconds out in front of Tony Bowling. Now he comes to the line. 3 laps, 3 miles left for that 15 truck, and looks like he's getting ready to pull it into victory lane here. JD, it's all Larry Scott Jr. Right now, sitting in the lead.
Watching the 23 machine, 8th position back here. He was giving Nathan Lamothe a run for his money up here in the 26 truck. 23 Rod Flag looking for at least another position before this thing ends. Don't think he's going to get it. He can pull up to the bumper of the 26. It just doesn't have the horsepower to get around. And remember, as long as the 26 truck stays up on the outside, that's the preferred lane up there. 23 truck at this stage in the game going to have a difficult time getting by with 3 laps, now 2 laps remaining here. Next time around, it'll be the white flag for Larry Scott. And like Kyle said, if the caution were to fly now, it is game over, Cowboy. Scott would pick up the trophy, but looks like last lap might just pick up the win for the team here tonight. But again, we don't want to act prematurely. Do not call your bookie yet. It ain't over till it's over, and race officials take a look and at the penalty points. But right now, it's looking pretty sweet for Last Lap Motorsports. Take us home there, Kyle.
Half a lap to go here for the number 15 machine of Larry Scott Jr. It was a tough break not that long ago where Larry Scott lost his teammates. Looked like that team was going to be able to battle for the victory, but unfortunately not going to be the case here tonight. But they are going to go to victory lane. The number 15, Larry Scott Jr. brings it off at turn number 4. He takes the checkered flag, and he is going to pick up race number 7 here at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Tony Bowling going to come home in 2nd place. Larry Mulligan bringing it home in 3rd. 4th place going to Matt Kingsbury. Jimmy Jones 5th. Ray Kingsbury 6th. Those guys able to hang on to 4, 5, and 6, pending penalties possible at the end of this thing. The Last Lap Motorsports bunch could be coming home our team winners, but Larry Scott Jr. picking up the victory here. Nathan Lamothe, Rod Flag, Terrence Donovan, Frank Busialia III, rounding out your top 10. All of those drivers on the lead lap as well.
And Hunter Bowles going down one more lap right there at the end. So Sean Brown, unfortunately, going to finish way back. He'll be the 2nd car a lap down behind Hunter Bowles. 10 trucks, pick 'em up trucks, Cowboy, and they'll be 10 of them finishing on the lead lap here. The rest of them a lap or more down, and a few back in the garage up on the hauler, and some of them already pulling out of the track, heading for the barn here from New Hampshire Speedway. But I'll tell you what, with 150 laps in the books, it is Larry Scott Jr.'s night. Let's go ahead and step away, take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the post-race show, we'll bring you your top 3.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
It's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travers, start your engine!
he wins his first NASCAR iRacing.
And welcome back to New Hampshire Speedway, the Cowboy up here with Kyle Busch here tonight. And I'll tell you what a night here with the ETV Life Team Racing Series. Larry Scott Jr. picking up the trophy for the night. What an incredible run he made here in the last part of the race for Z-Loop Racing. Unfortunately, Larry Scott Jr. in his celebration rips his headset off, threw it out the window, and unable to speak with us up here on the radio for the win. But again, congratulations to Larry Scott Jr. Incredible race there at the end. However, I am standing next to Tony Bowling. He drives that number 3 truck for Crosstown Motorsports. Tony, I'll tell you what, Cowboy, it looked like you and Larry Mulligan and Sean Brown were going to finish up there inside the top 5 possibly. Looking for good points here tonight, but hey, tell us about your run.
Yeah, I hate it for Shawnee. Had a good race going, got caught up in that mess, but overall for the team we did pretty well tonight. Made a bad adjustment that last pit stop, trying to keep up with the track and what I was doing with the truck, and it got really loose on me there for about the first 10 to 20 laps, and by then Larry had done checked out on me.
Hey, you know, we saw quite a few trucks struggle here in the beginning, say the first half of the race, but didn't look like that 3 machine was having any difficulty at all. What's the secret here at New Hampshire?
Not to overdrive that corner. You drive into the corners hard here, and you eat up that right front, and at the same time, it wants to start pushing on you, so guys will start cranking that wheel harder coming off, which heats up the right rear. So, I mean, it just all around, it tears your truck up. I tend to lift earlier and roll into the turn a little bit, you know, and then try to diamond it back off coming off the corner, try to keep it as straight as possible.
Well, I'll tell you what, you did it masterfully here tonight for Crosstown Motorsports, and again, congratulations on a solid run here. Who makes it happen for you, bud?
I want to give a shout out to my teammates, Larry and Sean. We're trying hard over here at Crosstown, and we was struggling at the beginning of the season. We're starting to come back on, but I want to thank them guys. Thank you guys up there in the booth, ETV and HDRN Radio for putting all this stuff on, and thanks to Jerry Wolf.
You bet. And I'll tell you what an incredible run for Tony Bowling here tonight. Of course, his teammate Larry Mulligan, he finished right behind in 3rd, and unfortunately Sean Brown caught up in a caution. A lot of damage to that machine. Spent quite a bit of time on pit road, Kyle, and Sean not able to put it together. He'll finish 12th here tonight. But let's go on down to Kyle Young. I believe he's standing by with Matt Kingsbury.
Indeed I am, JD. Thank you very much. Matt Kingsbury, the number 28 machine, the Last Lap Motorsports team, coming home in 4th place here tonight. Matt, your Last Lap Motorsports team, you were kind of quiet throughout the majority of this race, but once that final third of the race came on, you guys lit a fire under your rears and kind of kicked up the pace, and you ended up finishing 4, 5, and 6, and not fully official yet. But if we were to say, it would be you guys taking home the team win and possibly the points lead. So talk about your guys' race and your success out here at New Hampshire tonight.
Yeah, we had pretty strong trucks. Just couldn't. We some of us took 4 tires, testing stuff out. I took 4 each time and kept setting myself to the back there. Ended up getting damaged, and it just hurt the truck for a while. Got it fully repaired and tried to make my way through. And did a pretty successful job at it. As I got back up to 4th, and it wouldn't be possible without my great teammates. You know, we practiced so hard, and Fanalads as a sponsor, it's a great combo.
We saw a couple times Ray Kingsbury kind of do some different strategy moves, some different kind of pit deals. We saw him stay out that last caution, and unfortunately it went green flag throughout the end. You know, was your guys' pit strategy, was that a team deciding move, or was it kind of up to all you guys separately and what you wanted to do on pit road? Because we saw you and Jimmy and Nathan go down in pit, but Ray decided to stay out and take the lead.
Yeah, Nathan was pretty bad damaged, and Ray wanted the bonus point for leading the lap, and we knew we had fast enough trucks so Ray would only lose spots to us, so that was our strategy. Me, Jimmy, Nathan take 4, and just hold on for 4, 5, 6, 7 there, and Ray's truck was good enough that he could keep it with us while not losing too much ground. We knew we couldn't gain on the crossed-up trucks, and Larry Scott, we both had too much damage there, and it just, we were slowed down because of that.
Not quite official yet, but if you guys are the ones to take home the checkered flag, you came in only 5 points behind the Super Speedway Cup North Union team to kick off the second half of this season. Would be able to take over the points lead with that. It's a great start to the second half of the season. Talk about how much of a game changer that is to keep that positive energy up, knowing that you guys are the points leader, and what you can do to improve on that to make sure you have the best chance possible to win this championship coming down to Homestead.
Well, we're just going to keep hitting the track, practicing hard every week. Same thing we've been doing. We've been doing a routine. We practice hard every single week, week in, week out, and I think we capitalized that at Watkins Glen, where we all were pretty good at road courses, and we showed that hard practice with knowledge of how to drive a road course could definitely help you out there, and that's what we aim to do every single round, and just keep racking up these points. We're not going to look back. We're going to have all our trucks every single time. Like, each truck is going to be there. That's our biggest key to success right now.
Matt Kingsbury bringing in home 4th place, the top man for the Last Lap Motorsports crew. You can't do it alone here in the Team Series, Matt. The mic is all yours for shout-outs, sponsor things. Do what you got to do here, man.
All right, yeah. Fanaleds is really helpful to us, Their application's awesome. And we have NRT that helps us out on the front end of our trucks there, They've been great friends to us.
Matt Kingsbury bringing it home 4th place here tonight. The team in total only leading 4 laps, but it might be good enough to take home the crown here tonight. I see Jerry Wolf, our series director, just walked into the booth here. So Jerry, if you got any final words here before we wrap this thing up about the race, the mic's all yours.
Hey, before we turn it over to Jerry Wolf, I think Larry's team was able to get the pieces and parts enough together to put Larry Scott Jr.'s headset and mic back together for him again. Remember, he in celebration ripped it off his head and out the window they went. But Larry Scott taking the trophy home from New Hampshire here tonight. Congratulations on your run. Talk about your race, bud.
Man, this truck was amazing today. All my guys at the team did a great job on it. They just had unlimited drive off the corner for such a long run. And I just can't say enough about all my guys on my team, helping me get this thing together. And had a little bad luck today with my teammates, but at least I was able to bring it home for the team.
Hey, bring it home for the team, and that's what it's all about here with the Team Racing Series. You guys come to New Hampshire with any kind of a team strategy at all tonight?
We wanted to get all 4 cars in the top 10, and we were pretty well doing that until we had a couple brush ups, and one was kind of my deal there with the 12 that took Jeff out. But yeah, our goal was just to get all 4 cars in the top 10 and everybody finish. Unfortunately, we didn't get to really do that today, but we had the strength and everybody knew we were here today.
All right, I'll tell you what, Cowboy, talking to us sounds like the team leader here, trying to get all 4 men to the top 10, but it was a no-go. Larry Scott taking a trophy home from New Hampshire here tonight. Who makes it happen for you, bud?
I got to thank Jeff Backey Jr. and all the guys at the OCRL, for giving me some guys, for this team. Him, Steve, Josh, everybody does a real good job on this team. Also got to thank Ream, Monster Energy, Lane Sun Products, and all the sponsors on the official side there. And hope we can get this stuff going again next week.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, looking forward to a great race. That will happen at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Now let's throw it over to Jerry Wolf. Final comments on tonight's race from New Hampshire.
I got to tell you, JD and Kyle Young, it was a rough race tonight. A lot of cautions tonight. Guys getting still learning with each other. And we kind of went through this last season, Kyle Young, where we started out with a bunch of fresh teams. Took them about 7-8 races to get together, and this season when we came back, we added quite a few teams and removed quite a few, so I kind of expected this. Like JD said, though, earlier in this racing, we've had some awesome racing this year. I cannot complain anything about the racing at all. It can only get better from here, and it's not bad as it is. So we'll head off to Las Vegas next week, see what happens there. 100 laps in Las Vegas. Get down and dirty and go from there, guys.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of fun up here in the booth. Of course, I'm sitting in for Evan Pasocco, who would usually be here on a Sunday night, but he's on another vacation. Who said this kid could have this many vacations? I don't know. He must be hanging around John's office quite a bit. But I'll tell you what, Cowboy, it's been a whole lot of fun up here in the booth with Kyle Young. Back in the saddle again. Hey, we'll catch him next week at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So that's it at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That's it from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We'll catch you next time on ETV Live.